I'm 9 years old, sitting in the front seat of the car, on the passenger side, about to step out into school. It was the day after spring break had ended, and my mom stops me, and she lies to me for the first time. She says to me, "No one will notice." Just a few days before that day, we had gone to visit family out of town, and my aunt noticed that the bald spots were starting to show just a little bit more than they were before. And she tells my mom that it's time for me to start wearing a wig. It's time to cover up these bald spots. The funny thing is, I didn't even know I was going bald. The doctors had told my mom not to let me look in the mirror, because if I saw the bald spots, it would be too traumatizing for me. So I had not even realized that I was losing my hair. So my aunt tells my mom on this day that it's time to start covering up these bald spots that I don't even know exist. So they take me to my aunt's salon, and she gives me this wig. And she brings it out, and she says to my mom that this is my blonde Annie wig. She brings this wig out, and she puts it on my head, and I remember thinking, blonde Annie wig? This is a lot more like a gray granny wig, and this was way before gray hair was cool. So she puts it on my head, and my mom tells me that she wants me to wear it to school the following Monday. No way am I wearing this wig to school. So I tell her, this was when my negotiation skills became evident. I tell my mom, I'll wear this wig if you'll let me get my ears pierced. See, my sister had to wait till she was 13 to get her ears pierced. This meant that I was going to get my ears pierced at 9, 4 years earlier than my sister. Take that, Lisa. So Mom agrees. She says, if I'll wear the wig to school, she'll take me to get my ears pierced. So the very next morning, we went to the mall, and I got my ears pierced. And I was so proud of these earrings. So I'm sitting in the car that morning, that first day back at school, and Mom tells me, don't worry, no one will notice. I was naive enough to believe her. And as I stepped out of the car, I thought, this is going to be fantastic. Everybody is going to notice my earrings. They're all going to be, ooh, oh, Laura, you got your ears pierced. I'm so jealous. I'm just going to be the belle of the ball because I have earrings. So I step out of the car, I start walking into the school, and I walk through the front doors. I had on dark denim jeans with little red flowers on the back pocket, a white shirt, and it was tucked in with a little scalloped collar and a red ribbon that tied just under the collar. I remember exactly what I was wearing. I'm walking down the hallway, new earrings showing, and as I look over to the right, I see 2 teachers, and they're watching me enter the room. They look at me and they giggle. And I thought, oh no. If the teachers are laughing, I don't stand a chance. And that was the first time walking down the hallway that I looked down at my feet. And that became my new stance. Head held low. I walk into the classroom, and I won't say his name, but he was there. He was sitting behind me. And as soon as I walked in, he announces, "She's wearing a wig." He told everybody in the class that I was wearing a wig. He tormented me. This kid, he followed me around everywhere. He was behind me in line. He was walking behind me in the hallway. I can remember being in the library, hearing him asking me about my wig from the other side of the stands. I was terrified. I had a right to be terrified of this kid. One day after school, I was standing out with my friend Jennifer, and he came walking up out of nowhere with one of his friends, and he pulled my wig off and he threw it down on the ground. And it was like time stood still. I could still smell the grass. It's so real to me even now. There were some cheerleaders over to the right at cheerleading practice, and there were some kids playing over to the left. And you know what? I don't even know that they saw it, but in my mind, everybody looked. In my mind, everybody was laughing, and in my mind, I was just humiliated. My friend picked my wig up. As I stood there with my hand on my head trying to cover my bald spots, my friend put my wig up. She brushed the grass off of it, and she helped me get it back on. And we told the teacher, who got the boy in trouble. But even though all of those consequences came from his actions, he was still known as the boy that pulled my wig off. So if you could imagine if that was his claim to fame in elementary school, that moniker stayed with him all the way through high school. He was always known as the one that pulled my wig off. And trust me, everybody was always trying to top him. So I'd have girls asking their new crushes to pull my wig off, and they'd walk around the hallway behind me. I could hear them whispering, daring each other to pull it off. I was terrified. So every day I walked down the hallways looking at my feet. If I didn't look up, if I didn't make eye contact, if I pretended like I didn't see you, you weren't going to ask me about my wig. If I kept my head down low, I could tilt my head slightly, and I could eavesdrop on the people behind me and make sure they weren't talking about pulling off my wig. I lived this just ashamed of myself low life through all of school. He was known as the boy that pulled my wig off. I had a moniker of my own. My claim to fame in school is I was that girl that wore a wig. That's what everybody knew me as. Nobody cared to know why. Nobody ever asked. They just thought it was hilarious that I wore these, well, hideous wigs. So as I grew up, I left school, I got out of school, I got into a career, I got married, and I lived this normal life, albeit still wearing a wig, still looking at my feet. Ironically, I would go into fast food restaurants, and the people waiting on me would ask me if I was wearing a wig. I would go through a drive-thru, and I remember one time going through a drive-thru, and when I went to pick up my order, the woman went, "Is that a wig?" It was like, it didn't matter where I went. I felt like I was being constantly bullied and constantly humiliated. So one day, I'm in my 20s. I'm sitting in the room watching TV at home, and my son is sitting beside me. He's like 3 years old. He talked really early. He looks over at me, and he rubs my head, my bald head, and he says, "Mom, your hair is so pretty." I just looked at him and I said, his name is Cross. I said, "Cross, Mommy doesn't have hair." He said, "I know, and it's so pretty." And I thought that day as I was sitting there, if I could just see myself the way my child sees me. See, he didn't know me as that woman that wears a wig, because the wig was like my hat I put on when we went out in public. He knew me as bald mom, and he thought I was so pretty. And I decided I was done being that woman that wears a wig. So my first step, the first thing I thought is, well, I'll buy better wigs. And so that was the first step. I bought these great wigs, and I thought, I've finally covered it. I'm no longer the woman that wears a wig. But then I went on national television for TLC and did a show called The Makeover Story, where I took my wig off. Then they made me over with my wig, and all of a sudden, in a kind of a good way, I became that woman that wears a wig, and I found myself always having to talk about it. But I wasn't happy. So I met these kids through a thing called Children's Alopecia Project, and it's all these kids that go around bald. They all have the same condition I have. I have alopecia. They all have it. And they go around every day bald, and they don't care. So the first time I saw these kids, it freaked me out. There's like 200 bald kids, and I'm like, what's wrong with these people? You're supposed to cover this up. My aunt told me so. So it took me like 5 or 6 years of being around these kids to realize, you know what? Being bald is okay. It's okay to be myself. I may not fit the mold that the world says a woman is supposed to be, which is this beautiful head of hair. But I'm not my hair. And I can be something else. I can be stronger than that. So about a year ago, I emailed my boss at work. It was a group of 3. And I said, you know what? I'm kind of sick and tired of wearing wigs. I'm done with it. Is it against dress code for me to start coming to work bald? Is that okay? They unanimously came back with, do it. We support you. We've been waiting on you to ask us this. You're so much cooler when you're bald. Please do it. So I did what any rational marketer would do, and I immediately bought the domain name Bald Marketer. It was just on a whim. I just thought, I'm in marketing and I'm bald. Let's see if the domain name Bald Marketer is available. It was. I bought it. I came to work on a Monday bald, and I've never worn a wig since. And here's what I've learned. I've learned that through doing this, people don't ask me questions anymore. I don't get the stupid, is that a wig question. I've learned that it's okay for me to be who I am, because that it's awesome. And people can relate to me. So now when I walk into a conference, people come and talk to me, and I don't feel self-conscious the entire time thinking they're talking to me because they want to ask if I wear a wig. They genuinely think there's something different about me, and it's something they want to know more about. I get to tell my story, not the story everyone else is writing for me. The story they were writing for me was that I was this woman that wore a wig. And it was funny, and it was different, and it was mysterious, and it was laughable. But now I'm something else. Now I'm something that they want to get to know. I've had people come to me asking me, are you the speaker at this event? And I'm just an attendee. And the reason that happens is they think I must have a story to tell because I'm bald. So the bald marketer was born. I had a choice. I could have gone with my original branding, my original moniker, which was that woman that wears a wig. That woman that looks down at her feet when she walks, that woman who has no confidence, and that woman who just hopes that she can get by today without somebody asking her about her story. Instead, I wrote my own story, and I chose my own branding, which is the bald marketer. So I would say to you in your business, in your corporation, 2 people have the opportunity to write your story. Either you're writing it or everybody else is. And that's with all of your actions. It's how you treat people. It's how you run your business. It's how you pay your bills. It's how you represent yourself. You can have the best logo, the best graphics, the best video production. You can have everything going for you. But if you go out in public and you treat people badly, if you mistreat your employees, if you're dishonest with your finances, that's your story. That's your branding. Your integrity, you are your brand. So you need to be a brand that you can be proud of. Be a brand that when you walk out into the world, you don't have to look down at your feet, avoiding eye contact with anyone. Be a brand that you're proud for people to notice, because you are your brand.